Thanks for joining me today. This is Brett Owens from Chrometa, our CEO and co-founder. Going to take you through a 10-minute tutorial here through Chrometa. So we're going to cover a lot of ground here in this 10-minute period. We'll send you a copy of the recording after, so if it's something that you want to watch on your own, you're welcome to do that. We'll also let you know how to get additional support and also set up a one-on-one training session afterwards as well. And I'm also happy to take your questions. So we'll do all that at the 10-minute mark, 10 a.m. Pacific time, 12:10 Eastern. So if you have any questions, type them in anytime. We'll get to all that stuff then. Otherwise, I'm going to go ahead and get rolling, and I'm looking at my Chrometa time that I actually captured yesterday. So I was working both on my Mac and then also taking, of course, phone calls, doing some text messages on my Android phone. So let's take you through what what was captured on my end on Chrometa, and then I'm going to show you how we can categorize some of these and get these to our timesheet, and then out to a third-party billing system if that's something that you're using as well. So a lot of internet time, of course. So I've got my Google Chrome entries within Microsoft Word. I've got documents within Word that I was working on. So for example, this is the title of a Word document I was working on here. 31 minutes is the amount of time that I spent on that document. So even if I'm jumping back and forth, Chrometa is just sort of stopping the timer on my previous task and then restarting it on my new task when I move over. So that's my Microsoft Word time. So basically any application that you're in, we're going to capture your time in terms of what you were doing in that application and how long you were working for. So Gmail, we'll grab the subject line of the email. We'll also grab the to and the from in Gmail. So this is the benefit for Gmail users and also for Microsoft Outlook users and for MacMail users, where we'll be able to also get the to and the from of an email. So this is nice because it makes categorizing the email time that you're sending out much easier. You can even create something like a keyword-based rule, which would look at a certain email address and tell the system that any time you see an email from this address or from this domain, you want it to categorize to this specific client or project. So that's possible as well. So let's go ahead and do that, actually. So let me take some email time here. So I can say this email with Kevin. Let me go ahead and say move to project. So I'm going to move this to one of my clients' projects here. We also have active search, by the way, in this box. So if you want to just do a quick type, you can pull up a client and project that way. Now what I'm going to do, instead of just clicking to move it, I'm going to show you a couple of shortcuts that we have here. We can kind of do two things at once. The first shortcut is this pen, which is short for annotation. What an annotation is basically giving a human description to these time entries so that when they end up on your timesheet, they've got that sort of human description. So Chrometa is capturing things in computer speak. So we're the name of a document, the to and the from, an email line. So as we're moving stuff over to the timesheet, that's where the annotations are going to come in. So I can move it over to this project and then annotate it at the same time. So I can say we've also got autocomplete in here. So I can say I was corresponding with Kevin over email. So you can add the level of detail you would like. What that does then is it moves our time from our unbilled time down to our timesheet. So this is the client project that I moved it down to. I've got a rounding setting here, so it rounded it up to the 6-minute increment. So it was an 8-minute entry, so now it's up to 12. We still have the original task stored in here, so if we want to get back to that, we can. If we want to move it somewhere else, we can, but we now have a 12-minute time entry on our timesheet with an annotation assigned to it. As you probably noticed, I already had a couple of other entries that were already assigned to projects. So I hadn't yet moved these myself. The way that these got down to my timesheet was with our keyword-based rule. So let me show you how we can set something like this up. So for example, this is an email that I was sending back and forth with some of our tax folks. So let me just move this down to another project here, but instead of just moving it and annotating, what I'm going to do this time is create a rule. So I'm going to say that anytime I see a certain keyword, so in this case, I'm going to make the keyword I'm going to make the keyword Adrian's email address. So anytime I send an email to Adrian, who's our tax guy, what I want to do is I'm going to always move it to this project. So I can say that I also want to do it for past entries. What Chrometa will do in this case is search over previous entries, look for this keyword match, and then also apply these automatically in these categories. I can then categorize it, create the rule, so it will bucket everything in the past, and then take a look at things going forward as well. Got a little preview button here too, so we can do a preview of the rule if we want to see what potential entries could be captured here. And I might have this throwing it off, so let me actually just do the domain. And now we've got these email entries here from anyone. I'm going back and forth with our tax guy. So this is a way that I can get all of these entries bucketed automatically for us. All right, now that we're bucketing everything, let's talk about where our entries go after they are sent down to our timesheet. So let me kind of minimize our unbilled time again. So what we can do from here is we can export these out to a printable format, just hitting the print button. Send them out to Microsoft Excel if you would like, or we could also send it out to a third-party billing system, so something like Clio, Time Matters. Let me give you a list of the systems that we integrate with here. So these are our current list of integration partners. So you can connect up Clio, LexisNexis, Time Matters on the practice management world, in the accounting world, kind of the who's who, so QuickBooks Online, Xero, and FreshBooks, or some project management tools as well. The way that these integrations work is that we are going to import your client and project list from these systems. So let me bring it over to the project list. I'll show you what I mean. So here's our current project list. What I can do is I can hit the sync button, and that's going to sync these with the third-party system that we've got here. So this is a way that we can sync it up. So for example, if I'm a Clio user, I can bring in all my Clio clients and then projects, or they're called matters in Clio, bring these into Chrometa so that I've now got these available to assign time entries to. And then when it's time to send these back across the wire, what I'll do is basically do an export. Let me go back to yesterday. I will do an export, which will send those entries back out to Clio. They will then appear within Clio as if they were time entries created directly there. They'll have the client matter assigned. They'll have my annotation that I created in Chrometa in there, and then I'll have the correct amount of time as well. So these in particular would show up as 0.1s or 0.2s in those systems. So that's how you can get us synced up with another system if that's something that you are looking to do. Couple minutes left, so let me get into mobile time. We've got time trackers for 4 platforms, so Windows and Mac. I'm working on I'm demoing you from a Mac here. We all do the exact same thing for Windows, so it's a little time tracker like this guy. Will record your time as you go. So we'll give you all the information that I've kind of walked you through. And then we've got a couple mobile apps, so for Android and iOS as well. And then what these are going to help us do is capture mobile time on the fly, so you can enter time from your phone. And then you can also grab phone calls and text messages and all that good stuff. So let me show you what my Android time looks like here. So if I go to my summary, these are some of my Android calls and text messages from yesterday. So these are captured and broken down by contact if I've got one. Otherwise I get the phone number. I do get the amount of time that I spent over on the right side. So it is possible as well to assign these to certain clients and projects also. So I could say I always want to assign text messages with this client, done this project. I could also create a rule to say anytime I see this phone number or this client, I want to assign my time here as well. Okay, so that's mobile, covered rules, so covered a lot of ground. Let me, I'll close with one trick here from the timeline. Then we get into questions if you have any, or I'll show you how to get additional support as well. So one trick from our timeline is that this is where we're literally capturing time down to the minute. So a lot of information here, but we can kind of corral this, and some people do prefer to just categorize their time from the timeline if you know a few tricks. So one is going to be holding down the shift key while we left click at the top here. So let's say everything from 1:30 down to maybe the 2 o'clock hour, this is all the same thing. What I can do is I can hold down the shift key, select everything in between. That's going to group all these into one continuous time entry. and then I can move these over to the same project. I can give it the same annotation, and then what this is going to do is implicitly combine everything for us. So I can say this is all the same thing, save it. When I bounce back to my summary view, these are now going to be down on the timesheet, all the same thing. So I've got a bunch of entries, but these are all consolidated and then rounded up to according to our increment. Okay, so we're at the 9:10 mark, so I'm going to cut it off here on my end. Happy to get into questions if you have any. Let me give you a couple of links also in terms of additional support and such. So here is the link to add additional devices. If you are interested in a complimentary one-on-one training, this is the link here where you can go ahead and schedule that. So we'll get into more detail and kind of customize to your setup. So that's complimentary as well. Finally, if you're interested, additional support, support info on our contact page here. So we do support 6 days a week. So this is starts on Sunday and goes through Friday. So 6 days a week we do phone, email, and live chat on the website here. So anyway, if you have think of anything, please let me know. Otherwise, thank you for joining. Hope it was a helpful overview, and hope to see you in a training session upcoming. So please keep in touch. Let us know what we can do for you, and hope to hear from you soon.